every situation is unique. But as it comes to this experience, it definitely stands apart from everything else, because it wasn't so much about sharing the knowledge about specific technique, but it was more of a planning session, brainstorming, where everybody's input was really important. And that's what made it definitely unique. So meditation establishes a certain bond between people that goes beyond techniques or concepts. It definitely tunes everybody to a specific wave. And then I think it opens up people for a different level of dialogue, creative and otherwise. So I think that's a great way to start the day. When you spend a long time in the city, it might seem like, yeah, well, a long time ago there were trees and birds and all that shit. But now, like, the game is different. So, like, you come here and you realize it's not only a sanctuary for people, it's also a sanctuary for animals, because nobody really hunts on this ground. Well, as I understand, animals gather from all over the area and just do their own thing, which is wonderful. I mean, it's just wonderful to observe. The nature is left to its nature's own devices, and we're not getting on the way too much. And it's also nice to see how smartly things are arranged over here with all the solar panels and sustainability issues. So the art doesn't really have to be hurting the environment. It could be just blending into it. And I think the idea of using sculpture and makeshift galleries was also brilliant. When you walk through the forest and you discover a piece of art, that's not intrusive. It's not trying to compete with the environment, but just contribute something. And I think that's unique. I don't remember really being in any places at all where that would be happening in such a scale, because it's a vast amount of space. I see the potential of collaboration between, like, writers and painters, for example, or writers and people who make artist books. So I see it not being centered so much around a specific medium, but broader ideas that bring artists together. Because it's also a tricky balance, because on the one hand, being an artist, it's a very solitary occupation, I guess, because you really have to do some serious soul searching to figure out what you are trying to say and how you are trying to say it. And influence of other people might not always be productive. I just went for a walk for like 40 minutes, and that was spectacular. And I came back completely like refreshed, and it helped me to contextualize this paradise where we were. Because if all you see is the interior of the car and the interior of the barn where things are happening, you don't really realize where you are in terms of what a paradise it is. So like that walk, for example, was a great way to reset my own perception and let people work on their own thing, and then I can help maybe technically here and there or just clean after. So in this case, that was beautiful, because it didn't really require a lot of my participation, because people were already mature artists. They knew what they were doing, and every time I would come back, I would just see something completely different. People went off in their own directions. There was absolutely nothing that's similar about anybody's process. Some people went with more intuitive approach. Some people were more representational about it. Some people implemented photography in their work to give it more of a story. Some people were a lot more intuitive about this and were creating abstractions and just seeing what the paint does, and maybe collaborating later on, like I did with one of the pieces. So I introduced one photographic image that I was developing and played with juxtaposition of the abstraction on the background, and I thought that was interesting. And that goes back to more authentic type of collaboration. Maybe each individual artist expresses himself or herself, does something of their own, and then they see like how those pieces, those individual pieces could combine into larger picture, larger context. And this is the kind of collaboration that I'm the most excited about, when people don't have to surrender their own individuality and be too accommodating to other people's process. It just has to happen naturally, it just has to happen fluid. Like everybody does their work 100% exactly how they do it.